Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
8:07. If you missed any of our first 3 hours of today's program, please subscribe to our podcast, where all podcasts reside. We've had plenty to discuss since it was such a busy weekend. And for those of you who have taken the last couple of weeks sort of on and off because of work schedules, school schedules, welcome back. Happy New Year. It's a whole new political landscape here going forward, and we're going to discuss it. You're going to want to be with us every morning. Coming up in 30 minutes, General Jack Keane will give us the military's perspective on the actions over the weekend in Venezuela. I'm Larry O'Connor alongside Julie Gunlock. Good morning, Julie.
Good morning. And
joining us right now is Matt Schlapp. He, of course, is the chairman at the American Conservative Union. That's the organization that puts on CPAC, which is coming up, by the way. And would love to bring him in to talk about a whole lot going on in the world. Matt, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Happy New Year.
Great to be with you guys. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Listen, I know that you and your lovely wife and friend of this program, Mercedes Schlapp, have sort of had CPAC take a keen interest in our neighborhood, our hemisphere, our neighbors to the south, to try to promote freedom and conservative values to Latin American and Central American nations. So given that and given your outreach that you and Mercy have done, I'd love for you to reflect on the extraordinary events in Venezuela and what's next. What's it going to look like now going forward?
Well, we've been talking about Venezuela since I worked for President Bush and the stolen elections or fake elections that Chavez had before Maduro, and once jewel in the crown of the hemisphere, Venezuela, a very wealthy country, oil rich, an educated society, just was brought to its knees by communism and authoritarianism and political murder and terror. And so it's a good thing for the people of Venezuela that they have a chance for freedom. A lot is on their shoulders, by the way. I mean, this idea that somehow America can wave a wand and freedom and order and stability are brought to a country is, was shown in the Bush years to be mythical. It's going to be up to the people. If they want freedom, they're going to have a real chance for it. And I'm hopeful that a lot of these expats in their diaspora will go back to Venezuela and rebuild, which was once a great country.
Matt, I wonder if you could also comment on this, because this has to do with sort of the Bush doctrine. Marco Rubio, this weekend, he was talking about how we are not going to fund, programs through NGOs. We're done doing that. We're going to do it directly. Give us your thoughts on that, because we've seen the great corruption through the NGO process and how some of these NGOs were funding things that were opposite in the interest of the United States. What do you think that signals, and do you think that is going to possibly make rebuilding Venezuela much more successful?
Look, I think the idea that the federal government doesn't have corruption is, I think, a little naive. I don't think we should pull that out of what Marco Rubio is saying. I mean, the corruption we're seeing in our own government spending is off the wall. We could say, well, that's due to the NGOs, but I don't know. I guess I view it as my money, and they should be, anybody funding any kind of entity should be responsible for, auditing that money. And so if we go directly, it's the same people that are supposed to be auditing the NGOs now who are directly funding into a country. And what it goes down to, the fundamental question, Julie, which is, okay, I can understand this is almost like a legal step. Maduro is funneling terrorism and drugs into America. He is a blight on the hemisphere. It was Joe Biden's policy, if you remember. He had a bounty on his head to take the man down and to arrest him, and that's essentially what we did, just like we would with a drug kingpin or something. And but now you have the next step, which is, how do you rebuild democracy in the country? And there's really not an easy fix here. A switch to how you fund it, I don't think, gets around the basic question of, it's going to be up to them to bring order back to their society. We can keep the peace for a while and stop the recriminations and the assassinations, but beyond that, it's up to the Venezuelan people and their neighbors.
We're speaking with Matt Schlapp, chairman of the American Conservative Union, and I want to get into what's going on with CPAC this year, which is around the corner. But before we do, extraordinary scenes from the streets of Iran as well, the Persian Street, if we can call it that. We've seen uprisings before in Iran, and of course the totalitarian regime there kills anyone who protests. The difference here, though, is instead of Barack Obama being in the White House, it's Donald Trump. What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, I think we have the same issue there, which is it's a corrupt regime that is not popular with its own people. In Venezuela, what we're going to see is the people of Venezuela, hopefully, taking back their country. And I think if the people of Iran had the chance to take back their country, I think it would be much more moderate. It would still be an Islamic state, but I think it would be much more secular and much more tolerant. And so I'm excited about what I see in Iran. I like the fact that they're nervous about what Trump might do in Havana or in Iran. I like the fact that our military is feared, but what I worry about is a cavalier approach by some advisors that we can just come take world leaders out. We can, help install the leaders we want or bring back elections. And, I just think the lesson over the last 20 years is it's a lot more complicated than it seems in a briefing.
Do you think some of the president's advisors are telling him that? What's going on there?
I think clearly that there is, a little bit of a bloodlust to take out dictators around the world. And I love that. I love taking them out. I just don't know if America should be the one to be taking them out, number one, and number two, responsible for running all these countries. I think that is, that's a dangerous line. And I think I trust President Trump to get this right. I trust Marco Rubio to get this right. I think maybe there are some on the Hill and there are some in even the conservative community who are saying, okay, let's take out all the dictators. Well, you take out all the dictators, Larry, like we did in Iraq, and, you could have 50 years of bloodshed. And we just have to ask ourselves, how much of that do we want?
Well, this will certainly be one of the conversations going on in the conservative movement, in the right-of-center media, the MAGA media, as many call it, the influencers. There is mixed feelings about America's role here. And I'm guessing that'll be a part of the conversation at CPAC, which, by the way, is in Dallas this year. Give us the details.
Yes, at CPAC's in Dallas. This is going to be front and center. What is this Trump doctrine is a big part of it. But let me say something else. Donald Trump is a president of action, and I think what CPAC has to do is focus on those people around the world, and especially in our country, who are getting things done, like this young man in Minnesota exposing corruption. I think our movement has been overtaken by a lot of people who do a lot of talking, and I could be accused of that. And it really our focus should be on the people that are getting the hard work done, including people in the administration who are bringing about amazing change from the depressing Biden years. So that's going to be the focus there. And once again, to finalize this question, the best thing about the last couple of days is the people of Venezuela have a chance to recapture freedom in their country, and I'm really excited and happy for them.
Okay, but people who do a lot of talking aren't necessarily inherently the problem, are they? Because that's pretty much all we do here. It's literally talk radio.
Larry, you're a doer. Talk yourself up, okay? You're a doer. You get stuff done.
I know what I'm doing March 25th through 28th. I'm going to be at the Gaylord Texan Resort and Convention Center for CPAC 26, baby. Go. All right, everybody.
Larry's
we'll see you
a better pitch man than I am, okay? He's better.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Thanks,
Our
Matt.
best to
Bye,
mercy.
guys.
8:15 WMAL. WMAL, making sense of the news. Live from the Home Paramount Pest Control Studios. Home Paramount, the leader in pest control since 1939.
Nothing like a good Jackie Gleason Honeymooners reference to bring down the demographic for our show. Well, it's amazing how many people were against Nicolas Maduro right up until the moment Donald Trump actually took decisive action against Nicolas Maduro. The videos of Biden types, including Jen Psaki, people who worked in the Biden administration, who back in 2019 and 2020 were criticizing Trump for cozying up to dictators and not doing anything. about Nicolas Maduro. And, of course, when they were in power for 4 years, they did nothing about Nicolas Maduro. Although that's not true. We sent planes down to Venezuela, don't forget, Julie. We sent empty passenger planes down there so that Maduro could load them up with murderers and narco-terrorists.
Yep.
Then we flew them back here and gave them amnesty. Oh, excuse me, asylum. Right. And then they wreaked havoc here in this country. So, yeah, they did something about it. But, yeah, the organized political Marxist left are now, shockingly, and I know you're going to find this surprising, they all find themselves on the side of the brutal dictator, Nicolas Maduro. Here is Ethan Hawke, actor Ethan Hawke, which, of course, anytime I'm confused about international relations and what America's role is in the world, I often stop and think, wait a minute, what does Ethan Hawke have to say?
Right.
So here he is at a red carpet last night.
I'm a little in shock about that. You know, I was already upset about the Kennedy Center honor, and now we're bombing of some. I've done enough Shakespeare plays to know that power corrupts. I mean, we're surrounded, history's littered with despots and selfish people and greedy people, and they make the rules for the kind people. And I keep wanting to say what a strange time we're living in, but then the great thing about being an actor is you get to do all these period movies. Every time period is strange, you know? This is my mother calls it the battle between the mysterious force for good and the mysterious force for darkness.
So, first of all, he's an expert on dictators and despots because he's done a lot of Shakespeare. Which
exactly. Yeah. How many Venezuelans has he actually talked to lately?
Thank you.
Right.
Well, no, he did Shakespeare. Come on, totally.
That's right.
It's all the same. Secondly, when you look at this story, and on one side is Donald Trump and the United States military, and on the other side is Nicolas Maduro, and you choose to paint Trump as the despot and the dictator instead of Maduro. It just tells you exactly where you are.
It does.
Meanwhile, that's Ethan Hawke. He has an excuse. He's a dumb actor. Yeah. Margaret Brennan, on the other hand, the host of Face the Nation, I don't know. Maybe she's an actor, too, the way she performs.
I'm starting to think she's a dumb actor, too. Yes.
She had Marco Rubio on, and Marco Rubio, I mean, when he finds out he's going to be on with Margaret Brennan, he must be salivating. The number of times he has owned Margaret Brennan and made her look like a fool.
But I have to say, Marco Rubio, he's such a nice guy. It's not salivating and like, I can't wait to get revenge and make a fool of her. It's almost like he's saying, she's so tiresome. I'm so tired. Why doesn't she get this? Why? Right?
I think he
just
enjoys
looks
it.
A little, well, maybe.
Here, take a listen. Margaret Brennan made the mistake of beginning a question to Marco Rubio by saying that she was confused. Listen.
I'm confused. Are they still wanted by the United States? Why didn't you arrest them if you are taking out the narco-terrorist regime?
You're confused? I don't know why that's confusing to you.
They're still in power.
It's very simple. You're not going to go in and wrap up. But you can't go. You're going to go in and suck up 5 people. They're already complaining about this one operation. Imagine the howls we would have from everybody else if we actually had to go and stay there 4 days to capture 4 other people. We got the top priority. The number one person on the list was the guy who claimed to be the president of the country that he was not. And he was arrested along with his wife, who was also indicted. And that was a pretty sophisticated and, frankly, complicated operation.
It was.
It is not easy to land helicopters in the middle of the largest military base in the country. The guy lived on a military base. Land within 3 minutes, kick down his door, grab him, put him in handcuffs, read him his rights, put him in a helicopter, and leave the country without losing any American or any American assets. That's not an easy mission. And you're asking me, why didn't we do that in 5 other places at the same time? I mean, that's absurd. I do think this is one of the most, daring, complicated, sophisticated missions this country has carried out in a very long time. Tremendous credit to the U.S. military personnel who did it. It was unbelievable, and tremendous success. And today, an indicted drug trafficker who was not the legitimate president of Venezuela, who we don't recognize, the Biden administration didn't recognize,
she wants this to end
60-something
so
countries
badly.
don't recognize, the European Union doesn't recognize, and many countries in Latin America don't recognize. He was a indicted drug trafficker. He was arrested. His wife was arrested, also
but the
indicted,
others who are also indicted are still the others who are also indicted are still in place. So that's the point of my questioning there. But you talked about not being the legitimate
So you wanted
president.
us to land in 5 other military bases?
No, I'm asking why you chose that this was the limit of the military operation. But to your point that you just made, that that Maduro was not the legitimate president.
He was the guy who was claiming to be the president.
Right. Well, the
He was a
opposition.
top target.
Okay.
Oh, it's like a
I
cartoon.
feel like, do you not feel like that is a snapshot into Marco Rubio arguing with his wife about the honey-do list? You want me to take the garbage out, but at the same time fix the toilet. Like, it's just...
I'm sorry that you brought it down to the interactions between husbands and wives, but I have picked up on a pattern here. Just like Ketanji Brown Jackson, when she's questioning someone for the Supreme Court arguments,
exactly.
and she goes, I don't understand, right? And then Margaret Brennan, listen, cut 21A again. She starts the question with what now?
I'm confused. Are they still wanted by the United States?
Why do women do this? Julie, why?
they do.
Because women do this. They're like, make this make sense to me. It's like, you understand. You're
I don't
just
understand.
saying that.
No. I will tell you, though, I don't understand why it takes my husband 6 weeks to do a simple thing. Like, I'm like, could you put the screen up?
But
Could
you
put
do
the screen up?
understand. The
I don't
answer
understand
is
why it's so hard.
He doesn't find it as important as you.
I get
That's
it.
why.
I get
so
it.
don't say you
Thank
don't
you.
understand.
Thank
You
you.
do
Thank you.
understand.
Oh, no, I don't. No, I will continue to not understand. In my case. Okay?
I just don't understand why you don't do everything I demand you do right now.
But I will
That's
tell
what
you,
Margaret Brennan is saying. She's everybody's wife.
Marco Rubio is very skilled, much more skilled than my husband, I will say, in beating back this sort of narrative.
Well, listen, he
I
is
love
a
my
diplomat,
husband, but
I am not a diplomat.
Yes,
No,
well, he did
no.
a great job. Margaret Brennan really should just leave her show,
Bless
like
her
never
show.
come back.
Bless her heart. She's confused. It's 8:24.
Coming up, General Jack Keane. Keep it here, 8:30.
WMAL-FM, Woodbridge, Washington, a Cumulus media station. Making sense of the news. News Talk 105.9. WMAL. News now. Now on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal. We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years.
That is General Dan Keane, known as Raising Cane, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, giving a breakdown on the military operation that was conducted on Saturday to remove Nicolas Maduro, bring him into custody, and satisfy an indictment brought by the Justice Department. Joining us now to discuss the military operation is retired four-star general and chairman of the Institute of the Study for War, also a senior strategic analyst for Fox News, General Jack Keane. General Keane, thanks for joining us.
Oh, yeah, delighted to be here, Larry and Julie, and also with your audience.
Over 150 aircraft utilized here, including helicopters, bombers, fighters. Not one single piece of equipment left behind. There was one aircraft apparently suffered some damage, was able to complete the mission and return safely. Not one fatal casualty for U.S. troops. Did anything go wrong in this mission, General?
Not that I'm aware of. It was certainly, as everyone has seen, a brilliant operation, and the operational security to help make that operation, given the literally thousands of people that are involved in something like that, the discipline of our military forces not to discuss the operation with anybody was certainly another remarkable achievement, and something we have proven in the past, is how disciplined our forces are in dealing with operational security. But the intelligence piece of this was absolutely exquisite, and it took months to develop. But despite Maduro attempting to break the patterns of his behavior and where he was staying and what he was doing, we certainly captured the details of all of that. And even when people are trying to break patterns, there's still patterns.
Yeah. And
obviously our people broke through that. And without that exquisite intelligence, the operation could not have been as successful as it is. And that led to a relatively very small force being able to land inside a military base and then inside Maduro's compound itself, which obviously had security forces to protect him, and get in and out of there within 3 to 4 minutes with Maduro and his wife is a remarkable achievement. And it takes a comprehensive plan to ensure that these things don't happen, obviously, by accident. We had to suppress their command and control, their ability to detect and then pass on to forces to be able to react to what was taking place. We had to shut down communication antennas so they wouldn't be able to communicate. We had to shut down radar sites for early detection. And then we had to suppress air defense systems that would intercept the detection itself. And then hit military bases, Army, Navy, and Air Force bases, which would have the ability to obviously react and then do something about the operation that was unfolding. And, of course, we shut down the part of Caracas that we needed to successfully conduct the operation in terms of their electric grid. And that's what brought the scale of the operation up so significantly to 150 odd aircraft, plus naval ships participating, and obviously Army helicopters and a very small ground incursion force. I'm pretty familiar. I commanded Fort Bragg, and I'm pretty familiar with Special Operating Force Delta and what they can do. They're a Tier 1 highly classified force that we have, along with SEAL Team 6 and Army Rangers. And they're really quite extraordinary in being able to do this. And despite all the sophisticated equipment, Larry and Julie, this really comes down to the quality of the people.
Yes.
And we saw that on display, whether they're doing intelligence work on the ground or surveilling through electronic means or monitoring phone conversations or flying airplanes or actually taking assault rifles and penetrating into Maduro's compound. It comes down to who these people are, their dedication, their skill sets, and also, depending on what they're doing, their boldness and courage.
Yeah,
and
I was just going to say, it takes guts. It's the training, the equipment, all of that, but it takes guts, not just from the boots on the ground doing it, but also from leadership to be able to, because, if it doesn't go well, it's everybody. You know how politics works in this town, General Keane. So it was incredible.
The chairman is that he did this with the president when we delivered the decisive blow to Iran. You're taking the president through the details of the operation, and with enough detail to gain confidence that, one, we had a good plan, and two, while we can't guarantee perfect execution, which is essentially what we got here, you can give a president certainly the confidence that the mission will be successful. There's always contingencies, but we plan for all of those contingencies.
General, going forward, what's going to be questioned now is what role will the military play, and the United States in general, in securing that nation until they can get back in order. As you saw the president say, we'll run the country now. It's going to require some level of U.S. military to maintain order as well, and this is where, frankly, it's been a mixed track record in the last couple of decades. What do you think that's going to look like? And do you have any confidence in the current Venezuelan military? I found it interesting that he was being guarded by Cubans, not by his own military.
Yeah, the Cubans have been protecting him for some time. And actually, this whole security apparatus at times is overseen by Russian generals whenever Maduro's been threatened. Yeah, the outside influence in his regime is significant. I think what we're seeing unfolding in front of us is what the administration is, without saying it, is trying to avoid is a physical occupation of the country to make sure the military is suppressed and the Ministry of Interior, Cabela, and his security forces are suppressed, and a physical occupation. We're trying to see if we can work with Maduro's regime, obviously his vice president and the Minister of Defense and also the Minister of Interior. These are all people who really control the government for Maduro, and they all have been indicted by us for participating in narco trafficking. They've got 1,000 political prisoners in their jail cells. They have killed people on the streets, as we have seen through the years. And these are really bad people. But what we're trying to do, obviously through intimidation and coercion, is to bend them to our will and avoid having to physically occupy the country. The objective eventually is to obviously have elections and return democracy to Venezuela. And listen, we're not involved in nation building for people out there wringing their hands and worried about that. This is not Bosnia-Herzegovina, Iraq, or Afghanistan. This is a country that has a democratic existing structure, albeit under the hands and control of bad people. But there is a Supreme Court. There's a National Assembly. There's an executive branch of the government. There's a civil society out there that is latent and has been repressed for years. And once they recognize that elections are coming and a new day is coming, they will be encouraged, enriched, and be on the streets. They're not celebrating now because the goons are still there who have the weapons, and they're afraid to go into the streets because they know what's happened in the past.
Well, but despite that, we did see some impressive celebrations, though, General, that's for sure. But that's a great point. Not nation building, because the infrastructure is there. It's just a question of nation restoration, maybe is the best way to put it. We got to leave it there. General Keane, thanks for joining us as always, sir.
Yeah, great talking to you, Larry and Julie. Take care. Thank you.
It's 8:46.
This afternoon on the Derek Hunter Show, Democrats are going to hate you anyway. We might as well make fun of them in the process. 3 o'clock on WMAL.
One person is in custody in Cincinnati, Ohio, after allegedly breaking the windows of Vice President J.D. Vance's home. Now, we don't know if this was an attempted break-in, but we know that several windows were smashed, and a person was arrested.
Just
the
quickly,
Secret Service has him in custody.
His Ohio home, correct?
In Ohio. He was there over the New Year's weekend, celebration, but he had already left to come back to Washington, D.C., along with the family.
Meanwhile, people drive by Tim Walz's house and yell something hilarious and insulting out the window, and Tim Walz acts like it's the end of the world. This will probably get very little attention from the mainstream press. So prayers for the Vance family. That's very scary.
Well, and we saw how he was bullied in his Alexandria home when he was merely running for vice president.
Doxed. Yeah.
Speaking of the Secret Service, former Secret Service agent and now former Deputy Director of the FBI, Dan Bongino. He has wrapped up his time. He has announced that he is gone. He is officially no longer the Deputy Director of the FBI. And I noted that his producer from his podcast and radio show noted this on X and said, "Can't wait to see you in the office." So he's definitely, he hasn't announced it yet, but he is definitely returning to his podcast. I don't think there's been an official announcement about that.
No,
but our buddy Vince Colonnese, noon to 3 here on WMAL, has assured us that he is still maintaining that radio program noon to 3. So that's the latest there. It's the intersection of Secret Service, FBI, and podcasting and WMAL, all in one fell swoop.
That's right. That's right.
And it'll be interesting. Certainly when he returns to his podcast, I think there will be a lot of attention paid there to see what he has to say. My understanding is when you leave the FBI, I don't know this for sure, but my understanding is there's no non-disclosure agreement that you have to sign or anything. Yeah, he can pretty much say whatever he wants. I'll be listening. I mean, he's always pretty much said whatever he wants, so no change there. It's 8:53.